The rain poured like judgment from heaven that morning. He stood at the gate, drenched, shivering, unrecognizable. The once arrogant son of Chief ADEMOYE, now with a torn shirt and hollow eyes, begging for a job. And there she was, radiant in a white blouse and gold earrings, stepping out of a sleek black SUV with her name boldly written on the side of the car, Tommy Foods, Africa's #1 snack delivery app. For a moment, neither spoke. The same gate where he had once mocked her, calling her Puff Puff Girl, now stood between them again, but this time, she was the one inside. Tommy's eyes glistened as she stared at him. The memories of humiliation returned like the scent of hot oil and dust from the street. He whispered, voice trembling, "Tommy, please. I need a job." She looked at him quietly, not with hatred, but with a calmness that only time and pain could build. "Do you remember what you told me, Dammy? That I would always smell like frying oil. That no rich man would ever want to stand beside me." She smiled faintly. "Well, it seems destiny loves irony." And with that, she walked back into her office, leaving him outside, staring at the empire built from the same Puff Puff he once mocked. Flashback begins, 5 years earlier. The first time Tommy sold Puff Puff beside the ADEMOYE mansion, she was only 19. Every morning before dawn, she'd knead her dough with sleepy eyes, humming softly as she prepared the day's batch. The scent of vanilla and yeast filled the air long before the sun rose. Her spot was just a few meters from the mansion gate, a towering black iron structure that guarded one of the wealthiest families in Lagos. People often wondered why she chose that spot. Why not the market, or the school junction? But for Tommy, it wasn't about location. It was about faith. Her late mother, Mama Kemi, used to tell her, "Where life closed the door, God sometimes leaves a window. Even if that window faces the gate of a proud man." She didn't fully understand what her mother meant, not until years later. Every morning around 8 a.m., a convoy of cars would roll out from that mansion. Security guards, tinted SUVs, and at the center of it all, Damilola Adeyemi. He was the only son of Chief Adeyemi, heir to one of the largest construction companies in Nigeria. Young, handsome, always wearing designer clothes and an expensive wristwatch, Dami was Lagos' favorite spoiled child. And every time his car stopped at the gate, he'd lower the window, smirk, and say something cruel. "Hey Puff Puff girl. How much for your poverty perfume? Try use that oil for your hair, maybe ego shine small. This your frying pan, if it never wash since last year." Tommy would smile politely, never answering. She'd learned early that silence was a shield stronger than pride. But every insult dug deeper than she admitted. Her hands would tremble sometimes as she dropped the next batch into the oil. The sizzling sound always drowned her thoughts, but never the pain. People around pitied her. Some even told her to move to another street. But she refused. There was something inside her, quiet, stubborn, that whispered, "Stay. Don't run from your story." One evening, after a particularly cruel day when Dami had splashed muddy water on her with his car, Tommy packed up her things and sat quietly by her stall. The sun was setting, painting the sky gold and red, like fire meeting dust. An old gateman from the mansion, Pa Sunday, walked over and sat beside her. He had seen everything over the months. "My daughter," he said softly, "don't let their money break your spirit. You see that boy? His father owes his life to a puff-puff woman like your mother." Tommy frowned, confused. "What do you mean, Papa Sunday?" He sighed. Many years ago, before he became rich, Chief Adeyemi was a struggling mason. He worked on your mother's husband's construction site. The day he had an accident, it was your mother who paid for his hospital bills. If not for her, he would have died. Tommy froze. Her mother had died when she was 13, and her father long before that. She had never heard that story. "So why did he never tell anyone?" she asked quietly. "Because pride is louder than gratitude," the old man said, shaking his head. "But destiny has a way of remembering debts." Those words would stay with her for years. At night, after everyone had gone home, Tommy would sit with her small notebook and write down her dreams. She dreamed of creating something bigger than a roadside stall, a place where people could order street snacks online and get them delivered clean, fresh, and fast. Her idea was simple but crazy at the time. Who would order Puff Puff online? Still, she saved every naira, every tip, every leftover. She took business classes at a community center on weekends. She learned to use the internet cafe to watch YouTube videos about entrepreneurs. Her phone wallpaper was a screenshot that said, "You don't need to be born rich. You just need to be born ready." She didn't know how, but she believed that one day, her story would change. Then one Sunday, it happened. Tommy had just finished frying when a black car stopped beside her stand. She recognized it immediately, Dammy's father. Chief Adeyemi stepped out, dressed simply in a white kaftan, holding a walking stick. He looked tired but curious. "You're Kemi's daughter, aren't you?" he asked. Tommy froze. "Yes, sir." How did you know?" He smiled faintly. "I see her eyes in you. Your mother was the reason I'm alive today." He bought everything she had that day, all the puff, all the buns, and gave her 50,000 Nigerian nairas. She cried, not because of the money, but because for the first time, someone from that mansion saw her humanity. But that moment of grace only deepened Dammy's anger. He didn't understand why his father suddenly started greeting the puff seller every morning. He saw it as humiliation, a stain on his family's image. So he made it his mission to make her leave. 2 weeks later, Dammy invited his friends to a small house party. They were rich kids, loud, vain, always laughing at the struggles of others. When they saw Tommy selling puff nearby, Dammy told them, "You see that girl? That's Lagos poverty in human form." He offered her 5,000 Nigerian nairas to dance in front of them, pretending to be a clown. When she refused, one of them recorded her reaction and posted it online. The video went viral overnight. Puff girl refuses to dance for rich boys. People laughed. Others pitied her. But Tommy, humiliated and heartbroken, didn't cry. She simply stopped coming the next day. For the first time in 2 years, the spot beside the Adeyemi mansion was empty. 3 days later, the mansion gate opened again. Chief Adeyemi came out, holding an envelope. "Where is the puff girl?" he asked the guard. "She no come again, sir," Pa Sunday replied sadly. "Your son's friends disgrace her online." The chief's face fell. He didn't say a word. He just stood there for a while, eyes distant, perhaps remembering the woman who once saved him, and the debt he never repaid. That same week, he collapsed during a business meeting. A heart attack. He died before he reached the hospital. The Adeyemi empire started crumbling not long after. Contracts frozen, accounts seized, investors fled. It was as if heaven itself had turned its face away. And as the mansion lights dimmed, the girl they once mocked disappeared into the city. 2 years later, a billboard appeared across Lagos Island one morning. "Tommy Foods, bringing street snacks to your doorstep." Her smile was on it, confident, calm, unstoppable. The same puff she used to fry beside that gate had now become her brand's signature product. And somewhere in the ruins of his father's mansion, Dammy scrolled through Instagram and froze at her photo. He hadn't eaten in 2 days. The boy who once threw money at her was now searching for job adverts online. And then, destiny made the circle complete. The sun was high that morning, but the heat didn't matter. Lagos streets had seen every shade of human ambition and despair, and today, it seemed, it would witness the final twist in a story that had begun at a gate years ago. Damilola Adeyemi, once arrogant, once untouchable, stood outside Tommy Foods, scrubbing his palms nervously against his trousers. The street smelled of fried snacks, gasoline, and freshly cut mangoes from the nearby stall. He hadn't eaten in over 48 hours. His luxury cars were gone, his accounts frozen, and even the mansion that had once intimidated every neighbor now loomed over him like a ghost of his father's legacy. And there she was, Tommy, in a crisp white blouse, gold hoop earrings glinting in the morning sun, overseeing her staff as orders for deliveries rolled out of her small but thriving headquarters. She moved with a quiet power, the kind of confidence only someone who had clawed their way out of humiliation could wear. Dammy's heart thumped against his chest like a drum announcing his impending doom, or perhaps, his redemption. He had rehearsed the apology countless times, imagined begging her for forgiveness, and now, standing before her empire, he realized that apologies alone wouldn't suffice. He stepped forward, voice breaking as he called out, "Tommy, please. I need a job. Any job. I'll do anything." Tommy stopped mid-step. Her eyes scanned him, taking in the tattered designer shirt, the nervous shuffle of his feet, the way the world had broken the boy who once mocked her for standing beside a gate selling puff puff. Her lips curled into a faint, controlled smile. "Do you remember the first day you called me Puff Puff Girl?" Dami flinched, unable to hide the guilt. He nodded. I was young. I didn't know. You didn't know?" Tommy interrupted, voice calm but sharp. "You didn't know that pride often hides ignorance. That laughter at another's struggle is a debt the universe always collects." Dami swallowed hard. He had never seen her like this, so poised, so untouchable. He remembered the videos, the social media humiliation, the sting of rejection, and the searing truth that he now had nothing to defend him except his regret. I'm sorry," he said quietly. Tommy didn't respond immediately. She walked past him, inspecting her staff, nodding at delivery drivers, her heels clicking softly on the tiled floor. Then she turned. "Do you know how long it took to build this?" she asked, gesturing at the bustling office behind her. "How many hours, how many nights, how many times I cried over a small bag of puff puff because I didn't know if I would eat that day." Dami looked down. He didn't want to speak because he knew that words were worthless against the weight of her story. "But here you are," she continued, voice softening. "Hungry. Broken. At the same gate where you once mocked me. And you think I will hire you because you ask nicely." He flinched, nodding desperately. "I'll work for free. I'll wash dishes, mop the floor, carry deliveries, anything." Tommy paused. For a long moment, it seemed like she might laugh, or she might turn him away forever. But then she spoke, voice calm and almost regal. "Fine. I will give you one chance. But don't expect sympathy. You are here not because you are clever, or talented, or even kind. You are here because destiny has a sense of humor. Don't waste it." The first week of working at Tommy Foods was brutal for Dami. He tripped over delivery boxes, spilled drinks, and even got locked in the storage room once. The staff whispered behind his back, curious about the arrogant man reduced to carrying puff-puff trays. But Tommy never mocked him. Not once. She only watched, eyes calm, as he struggled to adapt to life without wealth, power, or influence. Dami's ego was bleeding. Every mistake reminded him of the days he had laughed at her. And yet, somewhere in the quiet observation of her strength, he began to understand something he never knew. She was far more than a puff-puff seller. She was a force. A storm he had underestimated. By the end of the week, she called him into her office. "Sit," she said. "You've lasted longer than I thought. But tell me something. Why are you really here?" Dami swallowed. His pride, shattered, left him with only the truth. I want to make amends. I know I can't undo the past, but I want to work for you. Learn from you. Maybe even become someone worthy of being beside you." Tommy leaned back in her chair, eyes narrowing, then softened. "You see, Dami, people like you don't usually survive humiliation. Most crumble. Most never return. The fact that you came back shows you want something more than money. You want redemption. But redemption is not given. It's earned." And so began the long, uncomfortable journey of Dami learning humility. Months passed. Slowly, he learned the rhythm of the business. He carried deliveries under the Lego sun, negotiated with vendors, even helped design marketing strategies for Tommy Foods. Every success was a bitter reminder of his past arrogance, but also a seed of growth. Tommy noticed. Noticing someone was one thing, but trusting them with the vision of your life's work was another. And yet, as the months went by, Dami's dedication became undeniable. He learned that respect wasn't bought with money, it was earned through consistency, loyalty, and integrity. She began to teach him the lessons his father never could. She taught him about vision, risk, and resilience. About how humble beginnings were not shameful, but powerful when nurtured with intelligence and courage. And somewhere in that teaching, a quiet bond formed, one that neither of them expected, yet both felt. It happened on a Monday morning, exactly 2 years after Dami had first stepped into her office. Lagos was buzzing with life, the streets alive with hawkers, commuters, and honking cars. But in Tommy Foods' headquarters, time seemed to slow. Dami had spent the night preparing. He had written a speech, rehearsed it, bought a small bouquet of white roses, and even learned how to kneel properly without embarrassing himself. Tommy was supervising delivery drivers when he approached. Heart hammering, he stopped before her desk. "Tommy, I know I don't deserve this. I know I am asking too much, but..." He took a deep breath, then went down on one knee. The office went silent. Staff paused, drivers held packages mid-delivery, even the wind seemed to stop. "Tommy, will you marry me?" The words hung in the air like lightning, charged with years of pain, humility, and unexpected destiny. Tommy's eyes widened. She blinked, processing the man who had once mocked her, the boy who had once spat insults at her name, now kneeling with raw vulnerability. She remembered the gate, the oil, the humiliation. She remembered every tear, every struggle. And yet, she also remembered her mother's words. Destiny always comes back, and it always balances the scales. A slow smile spread across her face. She knelt down beside him instead, raising his hands. "Dammy, you have learned. You have fallen. You have risen. And you finally understand what it means to respect, to work, to love, and to be loved." She paused, letting the moment stretch. "Yes," she said softly, tears glistening in her eyes. "I will marry you." The office erupted into applause. Staff cheered, delivery drivers whistled, and the city beyond the walls seemed to shimmer in approval. Years later, at their wedding, Dammy would tell guests the story of how he learned the hardest lessons from the woman he once mocked. He would speak of humility, patience, and love. He would speak of destiny's sense of irony. And he would speak of Tommy, the girl who sold Puff Puff beside his mansion, who became his teacher, his partner, and the queen of his life. The couple's story became a legend in Lagos. People whispered about it in markets, in offices, and on social media. It was a tale of love, justice, and the poetic irony that life sometimes delivers in the most unexpected ways. And for those who had ever laughed at humble beginnings, it was a lesson they could never forget. Never mock the girl beside the gate. You might one day kneel before her, not as a master, but as the student of life.